Hi everyone, Araya here. How are you all doing? We are moving through really big timeline shifts at the moment. We have, since the end of last year, gone through a really, really massive one. All of us who are ready to embody, I think is the best word to call it, embody New Earth in terms of the energetics. We have very likely you will have felt this, felt a big shift in where we are landing with our energies, where we are connecting in, and what we are entertaining within our body field. Um, Now, years ago, I remember, like say 10 years ago, we were all contemplating what does this mean for us, the earth changing, her vibration, Gaia changing in her dimensional beingness. How is that going to play out? Will people um, have to choose between an old earth and a new earth in the physical? How is it going to kind of divide itself, or how does this um, succession of introduced higher timelines play out in reality? Now I don't have all the answers. I can tell you from my awareness what I am experiencing. But I just yesterday I was thinking back to what I was reading at the time. Uh, and at the time people were talking about a shift that actually creates a division, and either you're on the new earth or you're not. And in my mind, I thought that would be almost like someone would come and pick you up and say, okay, you're part of this, you have made it. Welcome to our beautiful new earth. I'm going to transport you in my spaceship um, and bring you to your destiny, your heaven on earth. I know this is really a bit silly, but I'm just yeah, looking back at how far we've come. Yeah, that we realize now that New Earth is not a place per se. It's I mean it sort of is, but it isn't. It's a dimensional awareness that we can embody within ourselves that allows us to have the interfaces, the plugins, if you want to call them that, so that we can live in a higher vibrational reality, but it's on the same planet. And that's kind of really cool to realize that. And in all truth, many of us are still plugging in and out. We have some old stories that we might be entertaining still, some old versions of ourselves, or even in terms of relationships, uh, because everything has kind of that plug-in or assemblage point. So a relationship in itself, where two people have their awareness linked, that will also have an assemblage point. And that assemblage point is basically the vibrational frequency of what you are entertaining in that relationship, plugging in at a certain level. Yeah, so that's why sometimes you might feel really good talking to someone, bringing you up. And another time you might be interacting with someone and it just sort of brings your energy down. Um, but yeah, and that happens through our conscious embodiment of our light, and the interfaces for that are our chakra points. But it's really interesting to see what's happening at the moment with those yeah, assemblage points. But like I said, we might be still plugging in at times in the old story, and other times we are fully landed in the new vibrational paradigm. So these are dimensional shifts that we are talking about. On the outer, everything will might still look the same. Although sometimes we see that things are presenting themselves differently, that there's some glitches happening, or that we are noticing that if we are in a completely different vibration, other people might not even see us or notice us or be aware of us. So there's all these like really funny and odd um, things reminding us of this shift being very real. It's not something that we um, make up, although if someone would have told me this years ago, I might have thought they were um, maybe under the influence of something or kind of crazy. But I've lived into this, and everyone, or likely, if you're listening to this, you will have lived into this. This is years in the making of self awareness, of understanding the divine nature of your beingness, and self-correcting, and learning how to do that, how to catch oneself, and how to um, reprogram your thoughts in your body field back to its divine original state of being. So, yeah, coming back to that in terms of New Earth, of what that means is that, yeah, the moment we will still be tidying up our old story. So we're going maybe a little bit back and forth. But I'm hoping that, like me, you have noticed that there is this massive shift, this very distinct difference between even between now and last year in terms of what is presented to us. I've noticed time is very fast, especially if I'm entertaining other things, or if I'm at a high vibration, or even if I'm stressed or worried, things shift accordingly. And so we are very aware that our reality is a direct manifestation of what we are entertaining on the inside. Yeah. And so we're becoming more and more aware of the effects that we have on our environment. So if we don't like something, if something's difficult, if a relationship is difficult, if a certain procedure or way how you go about your life is tricky, right now we are noticing more and more that we can just change our mind about it. In other words, change the script inside of us, how we see it playing out. And so we can realign it to a much more user-friendly, Spirit is saying, user-friendly version of how you really want it to play out. And thereby we are once again reminded that we are not a victim of the circumstances that are outside of ourselves. I'll give you a few examples. My husband wanted to get a second car for our family, and so we were looking at at what kind of vehicle that could be. And he found something that he was really excited about. But for us to go check that car out, we had to drive 4 hours to get there. And in his mind, it was the only option. It was the best option, lowest kilometers for the best price. So I can surely appreciate his reasoning, but I suggested that we would try something different. So instead of focusing on this is what the outer offers, and thereby we have to, go the extra mile, literally. How about, I said to him, how about we just give it one evening, one night, set the intention that spirit, in other words, the energies around you and inside of you, line it up in such a way that there is something like that, but even cheaper, less mileage, even better, and closer by. Like set a radius for yourself, say half an hour radius or something like that. And so he said, well, how do you kind of do that? I said, well, you just close your eyes for a moment. I just made it like real practical. And I said, you visualize it, you imagine it. This is where your imagination comes in. And imagination, we all had that as a child. We used to be able to fantasize about something and then we could feel it, right? We imagined it. So we made something happen. It was exciting. So why don't we go back to that playfulness? I told him. And I said, just visualize or imagine that the perfect car is there for you. It's showing up on your feed in the morning and how you feel with it, like you how happy you will be, etc., etc. Especially the feelings are very important. And so what happens is then you make a shift internally. You make a shift to what from what you thought was possible to a whole new possibility. And you can be playful with it. Like there's nothing lost if it doesn't work. If you want, you can still go drive for 4 hours. And anyway, that's what we did. And the next morning, both of our feet, we saw the same car, and there was another car like closer by, 30 minutes drive, and it was even better, cheaper, less mileage, everything we asked for, exactly in the color that he wanted. So that was super exciting, and that's just a little example. And in the same way, he has been able to draw towards him um his dream job now. So he's changed jobs and he's been trying to do that for a very long time through the conventional way of looking for people needing someone. Yeah. Going to all the right channels and sending in your CV. He did it differently this time. Again, in the same way as I just described with the car, by visualizing it. And I kid you not, the next day, someone had mentioned him in a business, saying, "Oh, I know this guy," and he actually got approached, and even to the um, details of in his visualization in this field that we created in our meditation. We called it the field of infinite possibilities. And I asked him at the time, I said, see yourself signing on the dotted line, and what is the date? And it's exactly the date that he's starting his new job. So these are just two examples, not like, oh, look at what we are doing, but it's something that we are all capable of doing. And it's especially easy now we are landing in the new earth paradigm because it's a oneness consciousness. It's a high vibrational energy that has the manifestation power that is infinitely more powerful as when we did things in duality. In the duality paradigm, it was all conflicting, and it was all misaligned, a lot of it. Yeah, so that takes a lot longer to yeah, to work that. Sorry, my light of my computer keeps going on and off, so I hope it isn't too distracting. Maybe it's just distracting me. Um, so yeah, these are really cool ways of how we can now navigate the world. We begin to realize that we are literally, this is something we already knew, right? We knew that we were co-creating our existence. But more and more, it's apparent now that we internally make a shift and then it has an external effect. In fact, I was talking to a friend this morning about, I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this, but she shared something about how to best disconnect. Um, when you're having a long conversation with someone, but you feel like you need to go, or it's taking a bit longer than you were hoping it would, or taking a bit more of your energy. Um, and I suggested to her that we make that internal disconnect then. So really simply, withdraw your energy. Don't feed that interaction any more energy, and already visualize yourself cutting off, going away. And then you can even enforce that with words. You can say, well, look, I really have to go now. Thank you. And just really strongly indicate that. But yeah, that's just another example of everything that we are entertaining in the new world, how quickly that will have an effect on your body, on your health, on your abundance, on whatever it is that you're working with, whatever it is that you are wanting to create. So we have to be conscious creators. That's really important. Mindful that it's to the highest good of all involved. And another thing that I was reminded of, and this is my friend helping me this morning, is that, good things sometimes take a little bit of time. So as we are in that process of kind of getting our wishes, making our wishes are coming true, some of the things that we are now witnessing, we've been working on for a long time. But we still have to be a little bit patient. Not always, but depending if it involves the people around us, they might still have a little bit of catching up to do. So depending on where you're plugging in, what you are wishing to manifest or co-create, there's free will still. So we can't force other people to do something that they're not ready to do yet. And sometimes it means that we have to be patient. Sometimes it means that we are better off going our separate ways. But this new earth is here for all of us. No one's getting left behind. Everyone has the same opportunities, because the earth, the planet herself that we are living on, that we are a part of, that we have the privilege to be on, our mothership, she is ascending. And she's not saying, oh, you can't come, but you get to go, or yeah, you're a better person, or you're not a good person, or anything like that. It's nothing like that, because we are all from the same source. We are all the same. In essence, we are all the same. We're getting the same opportunities. We have the same support. We have the same ability. It might not always appear that way, because we might have forgotten, or we might be in circumstances that we feel are much more difficult to change or get out from or navigate. But we have to remember that we as a soul on a certain level have chosen to be there to participate in that way, to have a learning. And yes, everyone will have the opportunity to rise in consciousness, to ascend, to change our frequency, to change our minds, to change our programming. It's not always easy. It's not. In fact, my biggest learnings, my biggest shifts probably have come through a lot of hardship and physical endurance and sadness and things like that. Yeah. I'm obviously just talking from the experience in this lifetime, but we've also had many, many other lifetimes where we had other learnings. Yeah. So we can't compare, because we've been it all. We've been different people, different cultures. We've been in hard situations. We've been the perpetrator. We've been the victim. It's something that we are remembering. We have to be reminded of, perhaps. But the opportunities are here for all of us, and that's really cool, because it means that potentially people around us are going to also wake up to their own light. And I use that term very carefully, because I know that we label things spiritual very quickly. It's almost like a movement, a spiritual person has to wear certain clothes or do certain things, but don't be hung up on the outer. Yeah. I've seen the most beautiful soul in the most simplest dressing. Yeah. Look into people's eyes. That's where you can tell. You can tell what's actually happening. Um, check a baby's eyes. Yeah, in the trolley of their parents' trolley in the supermarket. Look in and see the soul behind it. Yeah. Don't judge people on, yeah, because we are having an earthly existence too, right? So it doesn't matter if you're wearing blue jeans or you're wearing a gypsy skirt or if you're, I don't know, if you have your hair a certain way or you're wearing the latest. Yeah. I mean, it's probably nice to if that's what you feel you want to express yourself with, it's great. But ultimately, it doesn't tell you much about the light embodiment. So, yeah, know that everyone is invited to this party, and there's no, um, you're not going to be excluded. You're not going to miss out. There's no cutoff date. There is no portal that you have to go through, and if you missed it, then you're out. No. The light is here. We are bombarded with photon particles every day. And that's why Gaia is making a shift. Yeah, we can call her Earth or Tara, or Mama Gaia, whatever you resonate with. But she's making a huge shift, and we are in this unprecedented times where there's a paradigm shift, and we get to have full advantage of that in terms of unifying our polarized stories, the stuff that we have done on this planet prior to this embodiment. We now have the opportunity to unify that, let it go. And so many of us have stepped into New Earth completely. We're fully anchored in there in the New Earth timeline and in our highest storylines. And so, biggest message of the day, and then I'm going to close down this chat because I don't want to make it too long, is that be patient. That was my message this morning. Because some of the events that are there for you. If they involve other people, we need to have an allowance for their learning too. It doesn't mean it has to affect you in any way, but you just, if you can be patient for people to get to catch up, yeah. Just think about how long it took you to get to where you are now. Now, I must say, everything is going much more quickly right now. We will have a lot of young people, especially, very quickly realigning and reawakening in a way. They might have shut themselves down for high school, or yeah, there's small amount of time where their higher self said, okay, it's important for them to feel secure with closing. Yeah, but right now you'll see many more of these higher abilities will be very quickly reinstated in our young people. And we'll have a lot of very rapid awakenings happening in the people that we love. So do not discount anything, but at the very least, be very, very patient. Um, because we're all going as fast as we can. That's so lovely sharing with you. I always get so much out of it because the minute I just start talking, I feel all the messages that are coming through are very much for myself as well. And I'd love to hear all your crazy cool stories and adventures. I know there's so many of you out there, um, portal builders, magic makers, mahi, um, artists, lovers of life. Please be in touch. If you like my sharing, I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and kaki to everyone.